this is a lot more manageable than the Criterion Collection list because there's only, I think, 11 movies on this list, and there were, again, 1,054 on the Criterion Collection list. So I chose Wes Anderson because that's probably, at least at the moment, my favorite director. I'm a white guy in my early 20s, so it's kind of a requirement, I think. Um, so this is up to date. It even has Asteroid City that came out like 2 months ago. So it just starts at his earliest movie and works its way up all the way to the newest movie, and I guess we just have to jump into it. So we're starting off with Bottle Rocket. This is his first movie, but it's his first one. They made it while they were in their last year of college, I think. By they, I mean Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson, and I guess also Luke Wilson. Jesus Christ. But yeah, where's the fucking... Oh, here it is. Three friends plan to pull off a simple robbery and go on the run. I mean, it kind of fits in the theme with the first, like, two Anderson movies where it's a lot smaller of a story. It's much more of a slice of life, kind of a less Wes Anderson, more P.T. Anderson. But it's not a bad movie at all. Bottle Rocket is really good. It's a great like time capsule, I think, of the late 90s, and just has a great feel to it, and it definitely feels like a group of friends getting together and making a college movie. But like, if that group of friends was good at making college movies and then went on to become some of the most successful in their field at that. A regular college movie would probably get like a C or a D, but because it has Luke and Owen Wilson and it's directed by Wes Anderson, is getting, I'm gonna say, A. It's such a great movie, and I don't want to call it like a little movie. I feel like that does disservice to the movie itself, but it is a little movie. It feels like a small story. It's just a really nice small story. So now we're on to Rushmore. Rushmore is actually the one that I've seen the least. I've only watched this one once, so it is honestly probably my least favorite, but at the same time I also haven't like gone back and rewatched it, so I probably should do that. But a teenager at Rushmore Academy falls for a much older teacher and befriends a middle-aged industrialist. Later, he finds out that his love interest and his friend are having an affair, which prompts him to begin a vendetta. But yeah, it's got Bill Murray, Jason Schwartzman, who else is in this movie? He's discovering his own style. Rushmore, again, I've only seen this once, so I will have to put this below Bottle Rocket. I'll just put it at B, because it's not bad. It's just not my favorite. The Royal Tenenbaums. This is when I feel like he figured out his style. I'm sure I'm definitely not the only person who's ever said that in the history of the world, but it's got the hallmarks of Wes Anderson's style in it. It has the color, it has the framing. It just has all of that. But I'll pull up Royal Tenenbaums. It's got, yeah, it has everyone you could possibly want in the movie, except for Gwyneth Paltrow, I guess. But even she's not bad, she's just weird. So yeah, eccentric members of dysfunctional family reluctantly gather under the same roof for various reasons. It's great. It's a great movie. It's the first one I ever saw by him, too, because my mom had a burned disc of it that she rented the movie from the library and then burned it onto a DVD so that she could watch it because she loved it so much. It's sad. I feel like it starts to get, so Bottle Rocket's not, it doesn't feel like a complete story all the time, but at the same time, I feel like the highlights of the story make up for it, and the Royal Tenenbaums feels like a full slice of life of this family, this insanely freakish family. There is suicide in the movie, so like maybe be warned of that, but I'll have to give Royal Tenenbaums an A, and I'll put it above Bottle Rocket. I'm thinking of moving Bottle Rocket to B, honestly. So The Life Aquatic. I actually have this movie. Here it is. I I had it for a thumbnail. Here we are. So yeah, I have the Criterion version of it, and it's fantastic. It's you can't even fucking see it because anyways, it's let me pull up the cover. This is it. This is the cover. Let me line it up with the if I can. Where is it gonna be on the screen? Oh, it's not. There we go. You can kind of make it out. Oh well. It's a great movie. It has Owen Wilson and Bill Murray again, so you can't really go wrong with it. It's got Angelica Houston. It's like based off of Jacques Cousteau in like that era of documentarians. So it's just very brash and crazy, and it's filled with these very colorful art pieces, and the animals are pretty much all claymation, and it's just it is so unique. It is such a beautiful movie, and I think if you love the ocean, you'll love this movie just as much as you love the ocean. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful movie. I think I'll put it in A ahead of Royal Tenenbaums for now. We'll come back to it and rearrange. So next up is the Darjeeling Limited. It would help if I actually clicked the bar. Strangely enough, I had trouble getting through this movie for the longest time. I don't know if it's because of like when I would always choose to watch it and I would just end up falling asleep, but it was very hard for me to get past the like second half of the movie. However, when I finally did get past the second half of the movie and finish it, it was incredible. I don't know, none of these movies I think are going to be below C tier, but the Darjeeling Limited is such a great story about three brothers coming together after their like dad died and just taking a train across India and experiencing life and trying to bond with each other even though they've been estranged even before their father died. It's just such a great movie, and it says Bill Murray's on the cast list, but maybe don't trust that. I'm gonna have to put the Darjeeling Limited in. Oh, it's gonna go behind Life Aquatic. Alright, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I feel like this is probably the most well-known Wes Anderson movie. Most people probably don't even know it's a Wes Anderson movie, but it's fantastic. It was his first animated movie, and it's done using stop motion, I believe. And if it's not done with stop motion, it's done to resemble that very, very much. It's a lot of puppetry, claymation, stop motion. It's beautiful. It is a beautiful movie, and it's a great story too. The story of Mr. Fox and his family and his midlife crisis is, I don't want to say relatable because I haven't gone through a midlife crisis, but I feel as though this is a fairly accurate representation of a midlife crisis. It's not the going out and buying a sports car or gambling all of your money away. It's just trying to hold on to desperately what you already had and what you feel you are losing. And I think it's just a very beautiful story of having to accept change and accepting that you will not be who you are forever. But Fantastic Mr. Fox is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's going in literally my favorite movie. Next up is Moonrise Kingdom, which is different. It feels a lot different than the rest of his movies. I would compare Moonrise Kingdom a lot more to Rushmore than I would say the Royal Tenenbaums. It's a story of children and these children who run away, and these campers. Um, and it's a story of young love and just trying to find who you are when you are that young, and how difficult it can be when the world is kind of like literally trying to pull you away from what you want. And it's just a great story. However, it's a little long. At least in my opinion, Moonrise Kingdom drags on a little too long. I think they could have cut some pieces of it out, but it is such a beautiful story, and the imagery of the lighthouse and the beach and all of the campers is just, it's very pleasant to look at. So I'm gonna put Moonrise Kingdom in B. I'm gonna I'm gonna keep it in B for now, and I'm gonna put it ahead of Rushmore. So it's at like top of B. I think that is absolutely where it belongs. It's a great movie, and like I said, there's probably not a single one that's gonna end up below C. I will find out. We will find out. All right, the next movie is legitimately my favorite Wes Anderson movie. It's The Grand Budapest Hotel. I watched this movie for the first time while I was on acid in my apartment that had no electricity. I watched it on my phone, fucking tripping balls, just like laying in bed, staring at it, curled up in a blanket because it was also freezing and I didn't want to die of coldness. And so I just had like the phone right here, and I'm like, this is great. This is this is movie. It was such a, and maybe I'll give it to you that maybe the acid had something to do with it. However, I've watched it so many times since then, and this is the movie that I show people when I'm like trying to get them into Wes Anderson, or trying to, this is the movie I show people when I tell them this is my favorite movie, or like when people ask what's your favorite movie, this is my go-to. It's probably not the movie I've seen the most out of every movie I've ever seen ever, but I think it's the movie that holds the most specialist, perfect place in my heart. The imagery, the framing, the humor, the story, it's beautiful. The beats that everybody is on, everybody is like operating at their highest caliber. Ray Fiennes is perfect as Monsieur Gustave. It's got the kid who plays Flash Thompson from The Flash as Zero, and he's the pretty much like bellboy who works his way all the way to the top. And the Grand Budapest Hotel is his story of how he came to own the hotel. It's got, and I mean, like you just saw it from the preview there, but it has a fucking stacked cast. It's got Willem Dafoe, it's got Bill Murray, it's got Ray Fiennes, it has fucking, I think, Tilda Swinton, Kate Blanchett, don't quote me on that, it's got Edward Norton, fucking stacked out the wazoo. This is an amazing movie, and everybody is, oh, it's going through all of the actors right now. There you go. And some of these people are only in it for like 2 seconds, but every single person who speaks just carries a gravity to them, and you believe they belong in this world. And there's nothing I think that can be improved upon in this movie. I don't think you could have cut anything out. I don't think you could have added anything to make it better. This is, I think, the perfect movie. It has humor, it has adventure, it has sadness, it has romance, it has literally everything you could ever want. It is a heist story wrapped up in a like a platonic rom-com. It's so interesting. And they filmed the inside of the hotel is the inside of a fucking abandoned shopping mall that they've completely renovated and turned into this big hotel. And Adrian Brody plays like the most menacing pseudo Nazi. Like, there's not Nazis in the movie, but there are these like uh, death squads and war squads. The movie takes place in what feels like the beginning of World War II, but it's not actually World War II. But there are like references to like blitzkriegs and stuff like that, and so it's a very interesting time in this world. But just a perfect fucking movie, just an amazing movie. The Grand Budapest Hotel is literally my favorite movie. Isle of Dogs is, I think, the first one I saw in theaters. Yeah, Isle of Dogs is the first one that I saw in theaters, and I like pursued because I was like, that is Wes Anderson, and I want to see Wes Anderson's movie. I spelled Isle wrong. Isle of Dogs. This one is great. It's got Bryan Cranston, and he just has an amazing voice, so that already like puts it pretty high up. I took my ex to see this movie first, and she hated it, but that was also because there was a dude in front of us laughing like obnoxiously loud the entire time, even like not during jokes. So then I saw it again, and I was like, this is an amazing movie. So it takes place in like Japan. Yeah, set in Japan, the Isle of Dogs follows a boy's odyssey in search of his lost dog. And it has a little bit of it has the same animation style as Fantastic Mr. Fox, and they improve upon it even more. Like the fur just blows in the wind so well. I don't even know how to go on about this movie. Really, you just need to see it. It is amazing. It is just amazing. The stop motion is perfect. It is like the supreme form of animation, in my opinion. It's such a good movie. Let me go ahead and rank it. It's going top of A. I'll put it behind Life Aquatic and between, yeah, but ahead of Darjeeling Limited. Next up is The French Dispatch, and this is a controversial film among Wes Anderson fans and people in general, kinda. Let me pull it up. So yeah, it's got like a 7.1. Let me look at the ratings too, but it's added a new addition to the Wes Anderson. It actually didn't. It didn't add a new addition because Grand Budapest did this first. It's divided in chapters, but each chapter is a different style. It feels like one's in black and white, more true crime-ish. One is in color and it's a little more abstract. There's one about a guy who is writing about just the city he's in while riding around on a bike. And all of these little stories are connected by the fact that they take place, that they're all stories written for the French Dispatch, which is this newspaper in Kansas that releases pretty much like slice of life French stuff and French stories. And it's the final issue of the paper. It's serving as an obituary for both the paper and the publisher of the paper, Bill Murray's character. But it's let me see here, 3.6 from an audience rating. It's got a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, and those aren't bad. Those are certainly not bad scores. But when you compare it to the Grand Budapest Hotel, that has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes with an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb. So, and people felt that the French Dispatch was a lot more style over substance. And to them, I say, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. I think your little pea brain just can't like figure it out. You know, Wes Anderson's just what's the copy pasta? What's the Rick and Morty copy pasta? Yeah, here we go. To be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand Rick and Morty. To be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand the Grand Budapest Hotel and Wes Anderson. The humor is extremely subtle, and without a solid grasp of theoretical physics, most jokes would go over the typical viewer's head. Yeah, so that's my retaliation to that. And also, I'm gonna be controversial, and I'm gonna put the French Dispatch at the top of A. I think it's better than the Life Aquatic. Go fuck yourselves. So, this is the last movie. This is the final one. It's the one that just came out, Asteroid City. It's his biggest cast ever. Let me pull up the entire cast list. Here we go. Here's the cast. Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Jeffrey Wright, Tilda Swinton, Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Adrian Brody, Liev Schreiber, Hope Davis, Stephen Park, Rupert Friend, Maya Hawke, Steve Carell, Matt Dillon, Hong Chow, Willem Dafoe, Margot Robbie, Tony how the fuck do you say his name? Revolori? Tony Revolori. He's the guy from Spider-Man. Jake Ryan, Grace Edwards, Sophia Lillis, Ethan Josh Lee, Jeff Goldblum, Fisher Stevens, Rita Wilson, Jarvis Crocker, Bob Baublin, Sue George. He's from The Life Aquatic. Oh, and I guess Bill Murray was supposed to be Steve Carell's character, but he died. Oh well. But yeah, let me pull up. Let me pull up the synopsis of it. Where is it? Here it is. Following a writer on his world-famous fictional play about a grieving father who travels with his tech-obsessed family to a small rural asteroid city to compete in a junior stargazing event, only to have his worldview disrupted forever. So this also follows the French Dispatch in the style of it's broken into chapters. It's a play. It's based off of... It's not based off of a real play, but a play within the movie. The movie is a play. It's like a teleplay. But at the same time, it's a slice of life of these people who travel all the way out to the desert to participate in this junior stargazing event. And it's like a science competition between all of these kids. So it's a little Moonrise Kingdom, it's a little French Dispatch, it's a little all over the place. And Jason Schwartzman plays the writer, and in the story of this play, his wife has just died, so he has taken his children on his own out to the desert, where he meets an actress who's brought her daughter, and there's all these people who are arguing over the intricacies of the universe and what evidence supports what, and ultimately none of it matters because everything they know is just a small comprehension of what is actually out there. It's really great. Let me actually find this Reddit post really quick. Asteroid City Reddit. Here we go. So, I found this really great Reddit post that pretty much, I felt, summed up the movie in a really, really, really great way. The post is by Hey It's Eric, and it's called The Griddle. And The Griddle does have very important part in the movie. So if you don't want to be spoiled by the movie, you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend um, just clicking out now, watching the movie, coming back to it. Um, so this is the post. So audience seem to be cool on Asteroid City, and I've seen many, including in the subreddit, saying they're having trouble understanding it. Many of these critiques seem to come from trying to follow a satisfying plot rather than to thematically understand the movie. Asteroid City is a movie that is embedded within its own defense, but doesn't work if you're looking solely for its story resolution. The reason the movie is a play embedded within a teleplay is because Asteroid City is not really about Augie Steenbeck dealing with his grief over the loss of his wife. It's about prefiguring Jones Hall's grief for Conrad Irk. Fuck. It's about prefiguring Jones Hall's grief with Conrad Irk. So, in the scene, it goes on to say here, in the scene where Hall brings Earp the ice cream, the television host, we might think of him as God Serling, describes the meeting as legendary. Two significant things happen in that scene. Hall identifies a possible reason for Steenbeck to put his hand on the griddle, which impresses Earp, and Hall and Earp share at least a romantic moment, if not the beginning of a relationship. Despite the moment of his coming up with this character motivation being legendary, Hall struggles with the meaning of the griddle on opening night. Earp said in their initial meeting that it was a good reason, but so good that he couldn't actually use it as a line. When the actor actually burns himself in the course of the play, he's still trying to understand why we subject ourselves to the pain of life, trying to find some underlying cause for something that remains elusive. The meaning he gave at first was too pat. His monologue on grief is not, if I recall correctly, repeated in the play as we see it. It's the heart of why the play is about scientists, people who apply logic to understanding the nature of the universe, and yet all of them, despite their scientific accomplishments, struggle to find answers. The trio of Kellogg, Borden, and Cho constantly arguing about what evidence supports and what it doesn't, and what it can't. Clifford, whose experiments and dares are the only thing that give him a sense of worth, when he faces the infinite universe, and June Douglas, who can only teach based on what's known and cannot comprehend with things that cannot contend with things that aren't. The play refuses to resolve its mysteries, though the omitted speech delivered on the fire escape points most strongly to some sort of meaning, that love is worth grief, that pain and love can coincide, and that a clear, logical meaning to all things beyond the realm of human understanding. Earp refuses to ascribe meanings to his play. The TV host omits large sections of the actual play to divert our attention elsewhere, and the scene where the TV host is mistakenly present in the play implies the presence of Anderson at another level, still refusing to offer clear, logical meaning. And beyond Anderson, what creator guides the pain and loves of our lives, and how can we ever expect to find out what it all means, aside from Episcopalians? The reveal of Earp's death in a car accident follows shortly after the recitation of the cut scene by the actress who previously played the wife ties these ideas together. Augie Steenbeck grieves, but doesn't know how to. Jones Hall will grieve too, and so too will all of us leaving the theater, or all of us who have. What do we get from putting our hands on the griddle? Why is the pain part of the deal if we don't want love? Who knows? It's beyond our level of understanding. You can't fall in love and land on your feet. You can't fall asleep. Wait, you can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. And that's like a line that's continuously repeated across the movie. Is if you can't wake up if you don't fall asleep. And it's just said. Actually, at one point, it just like proclaimed directly to the camera. Everyone just starts standing up and saying it directly to the audience, and it feels like a meta approach and situation that you're thrown into, but at the same time, it's powerful. It doesn't feel out of place at all, in my opinion. I think Asteroid City is a fantastic and great movie. I've heard people level the same complaints against Asteroid City as I've heard level against the French Dispatch. It's all style over substance, and that Wes Anderson is moving more into a style over substance approach than he is into a substance over style approach, as he started off with in Bottle Rocket and Rushmore. I don't think that's a good argument, and sometimes movies aren't a, like the Reddit post I just fucking talked about for 45 minutes said. Like, there isn't always a meaning behind things. There aren't clear resolutions to the story. Sometimes it is just about feeling something. And Asteroid City makes me feel in a good place in the infinite universe. So I think Asteroid City is literally my second favorite movie. I would put Asteroid City above Fantastic Mr. Fox, but below Grand Budapest Hotel. So this is it. This is how I would rank every single Wes Anderson movie. And I know, not a lot of movies, but at the same time, more movies than your dad has put out. Think about it like that. I don't really, I'm not too into the Wes Anderson community. I'm not like involved in it at all. So while I'm vaguely aware that some of these might be controversial picks, at the same time, I don't think they're that controversial because everyone I've shown these movies to has loved them. The people I've shown Grand Budapest to, they've loved it. People I've shown French Dispatch to, loved it. People I've showed Life Aquatic to, loved it. I watched Asteroid City and Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's, I don't know, man. I don't know how to tell you this, but taste can be subjective. Oh well. Anyways, this was just a fun little side quest for the day. I hope this was somewhat fun, at least. Oh well.